All right, part 2. This is going to be cultural study, not clinical study. So for the cultural part, that's that middle week, and then also kind of the exit from the trip those last few days. There's a middle week where we're kind of forced to travel because everyone does, including your supervisors. It's called Golden Week. It's the national holiday. We don't really have a choice, so everyone goes on vacation. But I always like to point out that unlike most study abroad programs, including some of the ones I've been on, where you really kind of get bussed around from place to place and there's a very fixed schedule of tourism, you really have a chance just to be in Nanjing for 4 of those weeks. So your evenings are your own, lunch breaks are your own, weekends are your own, and there's a lot to see and do in the city. So part of what I do is facilitate that part. What is it that you need to have access to? Do you want to go to museums? Would you like to go to Purple Mountain? Do you need to see the public parks and just get a pass? I help the students with those kinds of things. Shopping, karaoke, it changes from year to year, but I'm happy to help everyone figure out how to have fun and how to see the city of Nanjing with the full 4 weeks that you have there to really get to know the place. Also, the translators that I spoke of and their supervisor at the end in that photo, Isume, have been working with us over the last year to really develop their outreach skills and also to bring some more cultural content to our students. So they volunteered to give extra talks in the evening on some topics such as knot tying, how to modify just plain tea to make it more medicinal but also delicious so it doesn't taste bitter. Some stuff I think I said on knot tying, qigong, those sorts of things. So again, we have flexibility to work with them on what kinds of topics would be interesting to the students, and they're very happy to share. And I really look forward to that kind of unfolding into a more one-on-one kind of mentorship type situation between the translators and our students when they go over, so they have a chance to really connect with someone who's also a native, potentially, of Nanjing. From the cultural side, being in city, one of everyone's favorite places is Futsimiao, the Confucius Temple. So there's everything from modern shops with tennis shoes and hoodies to this street that they're on that specializes in more brush paintings and paper cuttings and carvings and that sort of thing. The whole gambit you can find at the Futsimiao. A lot of the students, including and also myself, do all of our Christmas shopping every year when we go to China. There's some great deals to be had, although you have to bargain for them. Food is a very important part. I take everyone out, as I said, and help you find your comfort zone, either how to use the menu that I give you or which restaurants have English and pictures on the menu so that you can feel comfortable going out on your own or in small groups. Food is a very important part of Chinese culture, and for me it's my favorite thing that I always look forward to, getting to eat lots of food, including hot pot, one of my favorite, 2-sided medicinal broth, clear and not hot, and then quite spicy on the other side. Sharing is a big part of food culture in China, and I always look forward to those experiences, bringing everyone together too. When we do that 1 week of Golden Week travel, it is within China. We have been going to Yellow Mountain in Anhui province, which is a region famous for its tea, for its chrysanthemum tea, and also for its natural beauty. Because the Chinese have ever more disposable income, and they too like beautiful places. I've found that especially last year, the amount of people traveling in that time was kind of exceeding comfortable limits. So with this year's group, we may discuss other options for something related to herbal or tea tourism, some hiking, but maybe not in that specific location, because as you'll see, it's very beautiful, it's very high altitude with very small pathways. On the way out, we spend some time traveling through Suzhou and through Shanghai. You see the gardens, the famous garden and sister city of Portland, Suzhou, and then also Shanghai, kind of the museums and things like that. We also usually will go see the Shanghai acrobats. So here's some tea tourism that we did in Anhui province. Tea is all over China, but you definitely see a little more in the interior than in Jiangsu, where we are, but regardless, it's important to get these kinds of hands-on experiences to see where the tea is grown, to taste it closer to home, where it's also a little bit cheaper for some fine tea. Hiking, so hopefully in that week we will get people out and about into nature. Yellow Mountain is beautiful, but it's also hiking with this guy because it's a place where people have to porter up the mountain. All of your supplies, all of your linens, all of the dishes, everything gets hand carried up a mountain on one of those stone stairways. So you can imagine with 100,000 tourists and you, it can get a little crazy trying to walk up and down the mountain. Everyone always wants to know is there value in their money and their experience. So I have surveyed the last 2 years, but I've kind of pulled out, I think, the two most relevant answers from those evaluations. The first one is, did the trip meet my expectations? As someone who's been going to China, it changes so much. So one thing I actually tell people is to not have too many expectations, because even from last year, I don't know what it may look like entirely right now. It's developing so rapidly. However, I do my best to really lay out what things are going to look like and try and help people feel accommodated. And you'll see that most strongly agree that it did meet their expectations in terms of what was going to happen when they got there. But beyond what happens when you're there, is it a value to your practice? Is it something you can carry forward? Is it something that you find useful? I think these answers might be even a little stronger if there was more time. As people develop their practices, I hear a lot of things come up for them that were more useful than they even realized. But again, even right out of country, most people strongly agree that it is something that they can use in their practice. You may not use all of it, but it will definitely give you ideas, some techniques, and it's such a different environment than here that it's well worth it to gain perspective. It's also a resume builder. I find that some people will take you a little more seriously. There's just that stamp of legitimacy in saying, not only am I a Chinese medicine practitioner, but I have actually studied the medicine in China. So to help everyone get oriented and kind of do research on their own time, if you may not be able to find me, I've created this blog that is not viewable from China, just like Facebook and some other things are not viewable from China, unfortunately. However, pre-departure, there's a lot of resources here that you can pull together. I have a link to the article, the Sabuti article that I mentioned, a bunch of stuff about, what kind of shots do you get, what's the hotel website, all of that kind of stuff is all right here, ocomstudyabroad.blogspot.com. We've also had students create their own blogs. So I have these two links to student blogs from two of last year's travelers, Jennifer's working blog.wordpress.com and onewandererslust.wordpress.com, for two students who chose to put their experiences out there for good or for bad, mostly with humor, which is why I included this picture. You have to bring your sense of humor. That's one thing I expect you to bring, because inevitably there will be moments of misinterpretation, misunderstanding. Someone will give you a gift and you're like, what? Someone ordered this lovely meal for us and it was cucumber, shrimp, mayonnaise, and sprinkles. I think right around the sprinkles was where things got lost in translation, so you just have to be able to laugh it off and have a good face about it and help everyone feel comfortable, because that is international travel. So thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful day. This is me with my travel group, the biggest one that ever went, 24. So hopefully you've learned something about our program, and you'll consider traveling with us, or you'll be joining us this year. All right, thanks so much.